This is Justin AMZN on Monday, July 12th, 2021. Take a look at the daily. So the last video I did was July 2nd, before the 4th of July Independence Day holiday in the United States. The market was closed that day. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I didn't trade any of that. And I missed all of this amazing move. I'm sure there were some great opportunities to go bullish through here, maybe even something going bearish with this kind of a gap down if somebody had held overnight. But here we are today. And at some point I may go back and look through, on the 5 minute, going back and seeing what all happened. But I'm just kind of catching up from being on vacation. So looking at today, the gap today really reminded me of that day back on July 2nd, because we had this really nice high wave bearish candle the day before. We gapped up. So we opened up, and then on this day we ran, right? I mean, a little lower wick, but today we put in a little upper wick and then dropped and then actually recovered a little bit. So different things happened, different positions, different locations. We were right above the 21 here. We had been consolidating for multiple days. This was a breakout. Right now, we're kind of in a consolidation a little bit, or at least maybe starting one. So we'll see what kind of candle we get. Maybe we'll touch the 5 tomorrow if we come back anymore. I think we're going to get up here to 3,800 pretty soon. That's the next kind of resistance I've got. It's been a pretty good resistance on the daily. Zooming way out, that's going back to this kind of a range. I'll throw the numbers on the screen if you want to see it, but I drew this in going back to April last year. So December 18th, 19, and April 14th of 20. And these prices, these times, and yeah, you can draw that in if you want. But that is this channel, and it ran really nicely into the high up here, kind of X marks the spot. We'll see if we get back up into it again. Be interesting, really interesting if we do. And then to see if we come back down, because I mean, the bottom edge of that channel, we more or less bounced off of, or kind of double bottomed off of, So that was the last time we were talking about this. This channel was down here, and so it's a channel, so it's kind of acting as support at the lower end of the channel and resistance at the upper end. So it would have been great had we just gotten a nice bullish candle like this again today, going from here, running right into 3,800. It's like, okay, let's just relax a little bit. Let's sell back down just like this did way back over here, and so long ago in the beginning of May. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see if that happens. So let's dive into the 5 minute. So here we are, gapping up, running up. You don't want to be this person buying at, well, I guess that would be another all-time high, right? We're pretty close to it. Almost another all-time high. So it makes sense to have a little bit of selling at the all-time high, 37.59.99. 37.59.99. Yeah, really, really close to that. So high wave candle, selling off into another high wave candle. That broke down into the 21. Break down through that, bounce a little bit, break down again, kind of hammer candle, high wave candle, another nice hammer, got a little bit of recovery back into the 21. Really couldn't get a strong solid close above. These little closes slightly above here, and then I guess right on it. It just kind of looked like it was going to do a little bit of selling off. There was much more activity below the 21. This candle took out these lows, right back into the high wave. This, let me draw what I'm seeing here. So this being a little bit of a pennant or a flag, breaks down, kind of retests, and then that breaks down, takes out that candle, takes out that candle. The next low to take out is that one. We did another kind of flag here, took out that low, and then that was it for the selling. We had buying for 25 minutes through here. This was a really great Morningstar reversal here. This was kind of exhaustion volume. You can see the volume behind the candle a little bit there. Kind of some exhaustion volume. I mean, it already had such a big bearish move. It really needed to rest quite a bit more. So I thought it was actually going to do this and then kind of roll back down, but that didn't happen. we just grinded into the 21, grinded a little bit higher, ran right back into the resistance from where we had dropped from earlier. End of the day at that price too. So making some higher lows, making some relative highs. If I could draw straight, I thought I was doing good drawing straight, but nope, guess I'm out of practice. So there you go. Kind of some relative highs. So we've definitely got some consolidation. It's been going on for, what was this, 4.5 hours or so. So for a good chunk of the day, we're just going sideways. I mean, you can even go back to maybe even in here. So maybe for like 6 hours of the day, we were just going sideways. We'll see what that ends up doing. If this consolidates enough that we'll, have a breakout, or if we break down, or if we need more time to go sideways. So I don't know. Those are the three directions they could go: up, down, or sideways. So for today, I was really looking for what I'm usually looking for with the RSI, putting in some sort of like a double bottom sort of shape, so it did a little bit of one here and then a retest. I really wanted it to poke above, then come back down. Didn't really do that. It kind of got into that shape here, but then didn't really get back above for kind of a retest to say, oh yeah, this is it. This is now overbought. Let's go lower and go lower. It didn't really do that. It kind of did it here. So like I said, this shape and then a retest. So that's also, give credence to the idea that I thought this was actually going to roll over from here, kind of from this place. And then we just really stayed above the 21, got right back into it again here, ended up a little bit higher. The only real trade that I saw looking back at the day, not the trade that I took, but looking at this kind of shape as kind of the double bottom and this being the retest. So it's a little bit off with the 5-minute, but if we jump into the call, it shows up a little bit better. So you've got that similar kind of pattern going on with, let's see, it was double bottoming here. And then this is the place to buy, when it dips back below again. Obviously, if you're buying at 11.10, you don't know that this is going to happen, that it's going to dip down a little lower here. But that would have been buying off of this candle. And the range on that candle is 805 to 855. So setting this up, with this option, make this a little bigger here. So that would have been probably buying like 850 and a stop down at 750. And I mean, it would have worked. You would have been entered in, would have actually gotten a better fill on the next candle because you're buying right at the close. So, it closed right at 816. So, would have gotten kind of some positive slippage on that, entry. Unless you did a stop limit. In that case, it actually wouldn't have filled at like 850 till this candle. I'm not sure why you would do that, but unless you don't want to get wicked in, if that's something that's happened, wicked in and then wicked out on something. So wait for it to break out. So you could be doing it for that reason. I do like this candle breaking out, getting not necessarily breaking out, but getting above the close here. I'm sorry, the open of this bearish candle, making some higher lows, relative highs, and then I really like the hammer here. If you had not moved your stop up too tight, so if you had a stop at like 775 or 8, now if you had moved your stop up to like 825, after all of these lows, staying above 850, you probably got wicked out, for a really small loss, which would have been fine. Small losses are good. Losing less than an hour is good. But it didn't run all the way back up to kind of the highs over here. So if you had bought at 850, 3-hour target would be 1150. It didn't even get that high. If I had bought this, I probably would have been looking to exit, when we got back into some of these lows. So maybe even at 10, that would have worked on this candle. The other thing I saw was the put was doing something similar and opposite. So it was doing the same kind of shape on the RSI with this kind of double top here. But it was a little bit, the timing was a little different because this is 11:10 right here. So this would have been the place that you would have been buying the call. And that's kind of the second high with the double top. not the retest, which would have been kind of this one over here. So this says wait a little bit, and this is already this candle starting to break down. So I think, waiting would have been a little bit better. Maybe you would have gotten a better fill on, waiting till like 11:20, getting on this candle, getting in on this candle. But even if you had bought at 8 and sold at 11, I mean, it didn't even, I guess technically the low was 8 and the high here was 11. I don't think, well, I mean, somebody could have gotten that. I don't think I would have gotten filled at those prices. So I don't think I would have gotten 3R. I think at best I would have had maybe an R&a-half, 2R. And at worst, probably stopped out for maybe a quarter R loss if I was getting in at 850. So that's just what I'm seeing looking back at the day, seeing how these RSIs play out. So this was the 3850 call and the 3600 put for this week. And the reason I was looking at these for this week is I just really didn't like the strikes looking a little further out. So if I go out to next week and go to like 3,500, the volume's just not there. It's really, really not there to do much. If we do the same thing, well, even if we go out like 3,900 this week, I didn't necessarily like how the RSI was playing out here. All these, dips below the oversold, it just didn't really shape up into much that I liked. So I was really bouncing around a little bit. Maybe it was partly getting back in the rhythm of things this week. That's too expensive. 3,700 is too expensive. Let's look at the 4,000 call for next week. I like the low here. It just rode right at the $8 price. It only made up, it didn't even get up to 9. I do like what the RSI is doing here. This is really what I'm looking for, where you've got this kind of like a double, like a double bottom sort of shape like that. And then a dip back down. Whatever that looks like on the RSI, it would look like this. It gets right back below oversold and you're good. Or this one, if you missed the first one, you could be buying these. So this really would have meant buying at $8. But this whole thing just went so sideways. And then, so I wasn't in this. This looked okay, but I didn't really like the option here. I don't know, there was something about maybe just a feel. It's kind of hard to explain. I guess at any point this looked like it could have rolled over, which would have been fine. It would have been wrong. It would have been out if it had rolled over. Would have been stopped out for an R. But just something didn't sit right with how this was just trying to recover back to the 21. It didn't really retest with oversold here like I was looking for. So yeah, just a few things. I just didn't like how things were moving so much today. It looked like a really sideways day, and hopefully I get more movement. But if you kind of take these ideas back into the week last week, I was looking a little bit to see, okay, what could I have done? So I had traded back in, what was it, over here on that Friday, with kind of the double bottom shape here. And I think I see it again, that idea there. I see it again here. Some stuff going on with this. I'm seeing a little bit of maybe a double bottom there. Definitely something there. But I don't really like how this dips so much further on this lower, on the second peak. And it was just like completely flat, or looks flat. Maybe it's just because we're zoomed way out. There was a little bit of a double bottom there, but this didn't dip down quite as much. There's a lot of dips here that could have meant something, but this ended up rolling back down a little bit more. So I don't think that would have been profitable. Same with this later in the day. It did the same thing. And then here we are back at today's, so then, I mean, we're obviously going up. So looking at oversold for an opportunity kind of on a pullback, it really just wasn't obvious to me looking back at last week, be like, oh, how would I have traded that? I saw some more things saying, okay, we're a little bit overbought, but I think partly being overbought because we just keep going up, like, you know, really quickly going up, and it's going to spike up, with that. Well, this was the end of Friday, I guess, but I was gonna say it's just going to remain high up here with the overbought, even though it's continuing to go up. And that's just something that happens like earlier in the morning, just how RSI works. So the more that I've learned about RSI, and just watching it and trading along with it, I'm waiting till later, later in the morning to put something on. So, um, you know, so go back through last week and look at, day by day, look at each day, look at how the stock moved, look how the option moved. There were definitely opportunities, like looking at the RSI, seeing a double bottom shape on the RSI here as it's pulling back. This is a great place to be buying. I don't know if the RSI lined up, but there may have been an option that was doing something similar to this and gave you this kind of time frame to be getting in. So that looks great as a place to buy and just riding that on up. So um, let's see, that was Tuesday. Look at this same option on Tuesday here. Yes, we have a dip here and $8 price. Is that the price we were just talking about? Is it really? Okay, so the $8 price I wasn't crazy, but that we just held today was the same price we bounced off of earlier in the week. So you could have been buying at 8. That's the kind of thing that like just amazes me with technical analysis. It's like, okay, why are we just going sideways here? Well, there was a lot of support that it put in earlier in the week right here. So that's pretty cool. I just thought we'd, glance at it. I didn't expect it to line up that well. I had not looked left, but I was kind of prepping for some stuff, just seeing where the charts were at. I'm looking back at Tuesday to see on the 3,500 put, that was a resistance. We ran into there, kind of a double top sort of thing. Ran into that same price again on Thursday. So on Thursday, yeah, really that same price at 35 acting as resistance. So let's see, Thursday morning. Let's go back over here. Thursday morning, we were slightly below the $8 price. And we were back into it a little bit more all through this time, but really it got going again off of $8 over here. So that's just really, well, over here. That's just really interesting that $8 price, this place, this location here where we bounced, worked really well on the option here and then here, and then it held it again here, but then didn't really work today. Didn't get a nice sharp bounce off of that today. And that's next. This is next week's expiration for the 4,000 strike call. So it's just really interesting. It's a lot to dig into with how these options move. I like to think of myself as, not necessarily an expert, but I've studied this for so much that, I have a feel for how these things are going. I'm getting better at looking out further than just this week's expiration. I think I'm new at that, but I still have a good sense of how the options are moving. But to see these prices come back in, over multiple different days, I think that's really interesting. Just how you can see a price, hold or a level hold on the stock, see what's going on with the option, and then continue to look for that same price because it's somebody buying it at $8 over here, and somebody's buying it for $8 over here, and somebody's maybe that same person's selling it for 24. I mean, that's you doubled your you bought for 8, you're out for 24. That's 200% gain. So you made 100% back at 16, and doubled it up to 24. Doing it with $100 risk, you would really need to know what's going on with when to get in, when to set your stop, that kind of thing. So you would have had to wait till really after 10 o'clock to be buying. And I'm not usually looking to get into anything before 10 o'clock anyway. So I think, so this wasn't me, but I think I would have been into something on Thursday buying around these levels. Let's see, Thursday. I guess the idea here on Thursday is this enough of a double bottom shape that then this is a retest of that? I think that's a little bit of a stretch, but I think knowing that we've got a lot of strength to continue going higher, it's a possibility. I don't know that I would have been into that at the $8 price at that time. I don't I don't think I would have been buying this at 8. No, I don't really like the options in here. I don't like how just these are just ticks through here. So I think I would have been looking for a different option to do this. I don't think I would have been buying in here. So this is a really nice double bottom-ish shape here, you know, and then it did come back into the $8 price over here. It just didn't get that second dip on the call. Otherwise, I think that would have been a really good setup. So anyway, that's just something, kind of off the cuff, what I see from last week, some opportunities. Obviously hindsight is 2020. Had I just held on to that, what I had bought on Friday, I was still very happy that I started the month off with 8.2R, in a single trade. That's just really cool. And had I held on to that, it would have been a lot more, a whole lot more. So, but that's the kind of thing. It's like you learn from that. That being my first trade of the month, I'll get another one. I'm planning to get another one this month, and hold on to that one a little bit differently. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, man, how good could I do on some of these trades if I just hold on to it and have a different target, have a different mindset on these things. So if you want to learn more about that, follow the link in the description and send me a comment on the video and give me your thoughts. So shoot me an email, whatever you need, let me know. Hope this helps. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.